God bless everyone. I am Giselle Arnoco, taking a Bachelor of Elementary Education. So today I am going to present my assigned topic, which is why we educate for peace. We educate for peace because we need a world full of understanding people. Peace education has an important social injustice because to avoid chaos and educate those who are not yet educated. Information and knowledge is a powerful tool, and so is the control of those who are knowledgeable enough. Through this, we can gain presence of mind that lead us to focus on important things, changing social structures and patterns of thought that have created it. Gigamit ni sa pagbago sa katilingban aron ipakita ang mga pagbago nga nahitabo sa mga pakigsulti ug kalambigitan sa mga tawo. Social change is a concept many of us take for granted or don't really even understand. No society has ever remained the same because change is always happening. Di ba kasagaran sa atong gidawat ang mga pagbago sa atong kinabuhi? Kay tungod dili nato malikayan ug dili nato papansin nga nabuhat na nato kini. Ug labi na gayud sa atong mga kasing-kasing nga nabag-o na pod. Matod pa sa kanta, ang lahat ay nagbabago, ganun din ang puso ko. Ang social change kay importante kayo sa ato kay tungod niini atong makawala kini sa inustisya ug mga pagsalikway sa mga giyera ug buhat sa mga tawo nga dili maayo ug pagbalik sa mga tawo nga nahilayo sa maong dignidad. We all know nga ang social injustice war ug uban pang mga forms sa violence that have caused death, destruction, and horrific suffering and etc. Pero ang mga tao karon kay wala pa makahimo sa usa ka malampuson nga pakig-connect para mabag-o kini nga panghitabo. But with peace education, it helps people gain knowledge. It enhances their skills in the area of peace and form an attitude about the meaning of peace in human life. Because through peace in education, it helps young people to gain knowledge through learning of what teaches in education. Because in education, we learn different things. We learned everything on how to give value of our life. I believe education is for everything. It can make your life to be successful. And I believe in saying that a good education is a foundation for a better future. Education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. Sa ato karon makahuna-una kita og undang og eskwela. Tungod kay makaingon kita usahay nga nanrabaho na lang ko kay unsaon nang pag-eskwela kung di ko katrabaho. Asa man day gyapon ko padulong kung makahuman kog eskwela, di ba trabaho man gyapon? So matrabaho na lang ko. Usahay makaingon kita nga dili na lang ko maskwela kay kalas og kwarta. Kalas og bayro na sa eskwelahan. Naay daghang mga project na ipalitunon ug unsa pa na diha. Pero wala na to gihuna-una nga ang education di ay kay mao'y dakong kasa sa Dios na angay natong lampusan. If you think nga ang education is expensive, try to ignore. Because I can say that education is for improving the lives of every people, the lives of others, and for leaving our community and world better than we found it. So that's all. Thank you.
Hello, good day everyone, especially to you, Mom. By the way, I'm Rivali Mariantor, first year BA Ed. I will discuss the peace education is an ethical imperative. Educating for peace is an ethical imperative that considering the segregation of life and well-being that caused by all forms of violence. The ethical systems of the major world faith traditions, humanitarian ethics, and even primal and indigenous spirituality and have articulated principles that inspire the striving for peace. These ethical principles include the unity and value of life, not only human life, but also other life forms in nature. Respect for human dignity, non-violence, justice, and love as a social ethic. They are principles that are highly encouraged for actualizations because they are expected to bring us the common good. And in the peace education schema of knowledge, skills, and attitudes or values, the following schema is an attempt to list the key knowledge, uses, skills, attitudes, and values that are integral to peace education. The list is based on a survey of a peace education literature and of key informants or peace educators that was done by the Center of Peace Education of Miriam College. The list is not exhaustive and is expected to evolve as a peace education practice and experiences as well as corresponding reflections and insights on these experiences increase. The diagram is followed by a brief explanations of each item found in the schema.
Good day and God bless everyone. So, I am the next reporter about why education for peace. By the way, my name is Dylan N. Viterbo, BA Ed 1, taking up the Bachelor of Elementary Education. As peace education practice and experiences as well as corresponding reflections and insights on these experiences increase. The diagram is followed by a brief explanation of each item found in the schema. So we have a schema of knowledge, skills, and attitudes or values for peace education. In a very simple word, peace education gives the learners the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values which are necessary to end violence and injustice in the society and promote a culture, inner, social peace within the individual. Peace education is an essential component of quality basic education. So for the knowledge, we have holistic concept of peace, conflict and violence causes, and some peaceful alternatives. 8. Peaceful alternatives. We have disarmament, nonviolence, conflict resolution, human rights, human solidarity, democratization, development based on justice, sustainable development. This perspective will help them analyze peace issues in an integrated way. They can also examine the roots and consequences of violence. This springboard for the exploitation of the meaning of true human security, which springs from the fulfillment of both basic needs and higher needs of humans. So in skills, we have reflection, critical thinking and analysis, decision making, imagination, communication, conflict resolution, empathy, and group building. So those are the skills that need for us to be developed. Thinking or reasoning, ability to approach issues with an open but critical mind, ability to analyze problems, creating and imagining ways of living, listening attentively and with empathy, ability to analyze conflicts, and working cooperatively with one another, and the ability to see the perspective of another person. For the attitudes or values, we have self-respect, respect for others, gender equality, respect for life or nonviolence, compassion, global concern, ecological concern, cooperation, openness and tolerance, justice, social responsibility, and positive vision. Those are attitudes or values suggested to be cultivated, sense of their power and goodness, having a sense and dignity of other people, respond an advisory or conflict situation, adversary or conflict situation with violence, the right of women to enjoy equal opportunities, acting with deep empathy and kindness, caring for the whole human community, caring for the natural environment, working together with the common goals, openness to the process of growth, willingness to approach and receive other people's ideas, sense of fairness towards others, willingness to take action by justice, nonviolence, and well-being, and imaging the kind of future with a sense of hope and pursuing its realization in the ways that they can. Peace education, it is the process of acquiring the values, the knowledge, and developing the attitudes, skills, and behaviors to live in harmony with oneself, with others, and with the natural environment. Schema is a mental structure to help us understand how things work. It has to do with how we organize knowledge, things as we take in new information. We connect it to other things we know, believe, or have experienced, and those connections form a sort of structure in the brain. Schema allow the learners to reason about unfamiliar learning situations and interpret this situation in terms of their generalized knowledge, cognitive and educational psychology. Schema-based learning. Learning is granted to capturing and using expert-generated schemas as a frameworks for teaching and learning. Thank you and God bless.
So God bless everyone. So I'm the fourth reporter of Group 2. So my topic is knowledge content area. So when you see knowledge content area, is a content knowledge refers to the body of knowledge and information that teachers and that students are expected to learn in a given subject or content area. So some of the knowledge or content areas that are integrated to peace education are: the first is the holistic content of peace. So, holistic content of peace is a concern with wholes, tanan, concerned sa tanan. So, it is important that students are, are learn this holistic content of peace. So, peace is not just the absence of direct physical violence, but also the presence of conditions of will, cooperation in just relationships in the human and ecological sphere. So, their perspective will help them analyze peace issues is an integrated way. So, holistic content of peace makatabang sa mga estudyante nga maka-analyze sila. So, and the second is the conflict and violence. So, conflicts are a natural part of person's social life, but social life. So, it also helps to the students. So, conflict become problems of violence depending on the methods of conflict resolution used. A student can study the problems of violence in various levels, from the personal to the global and including direct structural, socio-cultural, and ecological violence. So, socio-cultural is a social and cultural factor, and the ecological violence is the environment violence. So, kaning ecological, makuha sa environment. So, they can also examine the roots and consequence of violence. So, kani daw kunong conflict violence, kay maka-examine sila sa roots, nagagikan the consequence of violence. Mupisa sa mga consequences. So, some peaceful alternatives. So, mga choices sa mga peaceful. So, first is disarmament. So, disarmament, learner can be introduced to the goal of abolishing war and reducing global armed forces and armament. So, kanin disarmament kay iwalaon to mga war. So, to see the fully excessive arms and military expenditures and the logic of allocating resources toward the fulfillment of people basic needs. So, ang needs sa mga people is a food, tong nourishing healthcare, and education. So, it is important nga na ay food. So, we all know that kaning food, mo ni jud atong gina-daily routine. Hey, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, nourishing healthcare, it is important na maka-nourish ta sa atong kagalingon na healthy. So, dili ta magpabaya. And the last is the education. So, it's the biggest important, especially to the youth or even to the ng mga edadara na. So, na opportunity gihapon nga maka-eskwela. So, education is very important because this is the only way that you makakabot ka sa imong mga dreams. So, makahatag mo siya knowledge. Dili ka wisdom, knowledge. So need yun sa mga tao nga i-fulfill ning basic needs. So, a springboard of the exploration of the meaning of true human society, which springs from the fulfillment of both basic and higher needs of humans, which is the exercise of fundamental freedom. So, it includes the conscience, religion, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression. And the second is freedom of peaceful assembly. So, diri, nang ginahan jud ang mga tao nga naay freedom nga maka-express sila sa ilang gusto nga express ilang mga thoughts and opinion. So, the second is the non-violence. Study the philosophical and spiritual underpinnings of non-violence as well as the efficacy as a method to effect change. So, it is a desired nga na ay kausaban. So, case of individuals and groups who have advocated non-violence as a philosophy and method can be examined. Some of these are Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Aung San Suu Kyi, Nathan, and Desmond Tutu and Wangari Maathai. So, silang ni ang advocate nga walay mag-violence, walay mo violente nga mo abusar nimo. So, these are the people nga mo nila ang advocacy ug ang philosophy. So, it's a very helpful, dako kay katabang. So, and the last but not the least is the conflict resolution, transformation, and prevention. So, it has effective ways of resolving conflicts non-violently. Example, the collaborative problem solving and how this can be applied into their lives. So, it's important ka makabalo ta ani nga nang makabalon na ta, especially to the students or the people tanan nga makabalo nga musulbad sa ilang problema. So, pwede sila ni nga see how this can be applied into their lives. So, kabalo na sila sa ni pag-apply sa ilang kaugalingon. So, it is a very big helpful also. Dako kay katabang. So, it is examine how a conflict that has been resolved can be transformed into a solution that is love desirable. So, kung ma-resolve na nato ang conflict, so, ma-transfer na din siya into a solution that is love desirable. So, kabalo na ta mo higugma nga. Kaya ato namang, muna siya ang desirable nga, i-desire nato nga, angay natong isolbad. especially to the student or people. So that's all for today. Thank you and God bless.
God bless everyone. By the way, my name is Divina Imbihad, and for my report is the continuation of Bacchus report, which Education for Peace list of knowledge areas, skills, and attitude. So first, we have human rights. It is important for learners to have an understanding of human rights and to reject all forms of repression and discrimination based on beliefs, race, ethnicity, gender, and social class. They should be encouraged to respect the dignity of all, especially the weak and powerless. So, human rights are the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace. So, we learners, it is important for us to understand the deeper meaning of human rights. Why? Because aside from ourselves, there are many people who are different from us. And for that, we have to respect and accept them when in terms of their beliefs, race, ethnicity, gender, and social class. For this simple way, we gain peace in our life and avoid from chaos. Educating learners for human rights is the best way to have unity, freedom, peace, and harmony. This will bring us peaceful life of living. Students may able to understand the uniqueness of individual around them. So second, we have human solidarity. Many commonalities bind together divergent religious, cultural, local, and national groups. All humans have common basic needs and aspirations and a shared membership in an interdependent human global community. We have only one planet Earth and a common future. The major world religions also have shared values and principles. Students can look at how to increase interreligious, intercultural, and intergroup trust, empathy, respect, and cooperation, as well as discourage stereotyping and prejudice. So, we all knew that aside from ourselves, there are many different religions, culture, but always remember that as a human, we have common basic needs and we have only one home on our planet Earth, which we live in. What I mean is here is that educating students for human solidarity may learn relationships to others which different from themselves and it builds concord and enforces respect to each other. Second, we have development based. Third, we have rather development based on justice. So learners can be made critically aware of the realities and tragic consequences of structural violence and how philosophy of development based on justice is a preferred alternative. They need to understand that development is not economic growth alone, but also the equitable sharing of its fruits. So students may learn the consequences and they may able to know that life has unequal traits for no matter you are poor or rich. They may aware from its consequences and for that they are afraid to do something bad to their fellow man because they already know the consequences. It is important for students to impart knowledge upon to this in order for them to realize that we human we will still remain human and doing something bad is not acceptable to our society. So we have and the next we have democratization. It is important for learners to understand that democracy provides the environment within which people's fundamental rights, interests, and wishes are respected. So, we learners, it is important for us to know that democracy is deserved among all people, especially in the Philippines because we are a democratic country. It is important for us to understand that every individual has the right to express its interests and wishes, and this is respected. It is the right for students to know that they have the right to express something from themselves. Students may learn that every individual has different interests or desires to express, which it is respected and enforces freedom, give give its permits to accept and understand it. So next we have sustainable development. Learners need to understand the interdependent relationship between humans and the natural environment and understand the changes that are necessary to ensure that well-being of Earth ecosystems such that it can continue to meet future and present needs. They need to rediscover the wisdom of our indigenous peoples who have always respected nature. Students need to understand the relationship between humans and natural environment. It is important for them to inform that we don't exist without its provides of natural resources and to understand if there's a need to change occurred in order to preserve the next generation. And for that, students may able to learn the strategies or ways in maintaining the sustainable environment. As a future educator, it is my responsibility to give them knowledge about for them to give value to our earth ecosystem and to understand its changes and accept it. And lastly, we have self-respect attitude. It is belong to attitudes or values. So first we have self-respect, having a sense of their own worth and a sense of pride in their own particular social, cultural, and family background, as well as a sense of their own power and goodness, which enable them to contribute toward positive change. So, of course, if you have respect to yourselves, meaning you love yourself also. Respecting yourself is the best way to receive respect from others because sometimes people treat us on the way we treat ourselves. Having self-respect, believing that you are good and worthy of being treated well. As sa, through this will actually give them as ambag patung or patungo sa positibong pagbabago. And that's all my report. Thank you.
God bless and good day everyone. I'm Darlene Viterbo, BA Ed 1, taking a Bachelor of Elementary Education. I am the fifth reporter in Why Educate for Peace in Attitudes or Values. Attitudes or values, it is suggested that the following attitudes and values be cultivated in self-respect, respect for others, respect for life or non-violence, gender equality, compassion, global concern, ecological concern, cooperation, and openness or tolerance, justice, and social responsibility, and positive vision. So these are the 12 attitudes or values in Why Educate for Peace. From the first attitudes and values, in self-respect, having a sense of their own worth and a sense of pride in their own particular social, cultural, and family background, as well as a sense of their own power and goodness, which will enable them to contribute toward a positive change. The second one is respect for others. Having a sense of the worth and inherent dignity of other people, including those with social, religious, cultural, and family backgrounds that have different from their own. Respect for other culture. In today's world, if we all are able to respect and know about other cultures and respect their values and belief, life would be easier for most of us, and we can learn a lot of good things from each other. From the fourth one, which is gender equality, sa ating pagka-pantay-pantay, dito natin makikita ang kakalasan ng isang tao na gawing inspirasyon ang kanilang buhay dahil may karapatan tayong mamuhay sa kinatatayuan ng ating mundo. At ang pagpapahalaga ng mga kababaihan at para na rin sa pagkakataon ng mga kalalakihan na maging malaya mula sa pang-aabuso, pagsasamantala at karahasan. The fifth one is compassion. Compassion is one of the core values of the mutual learning approach because compassion means temporarily suspending judgment so that you can appreciate others' perspectives or situations when they are different from your own. To be compassionate, you need to be genuinely concerned about the other person or people's needs. It is important in value compassion because it gives us the ability to understand someone else's situation and the desire to take action to improve their lives. For people who are dependent on others for help and support, compassions because it is the most important factor in allowing them to lead fulfilling lives. Sixth one is a global concern that wants to help make the world a better place. The seventh values is ecological concern. By Eric Lawson on November 25, 2019, the 3 environmental issues and ways to combat them. For years now, humans have mistreated and contaminated the very environment that sustains them. But the broad concern for the environment can be so overwhelming that people don't know what to do or where to start making a difference from the 3 major environmental issues in global warming and climate change. Para sa pangangalaga sa natural na kapaligiran at sa napapanatiling simpleng pamumuhay. The eighth one is cooperation. Pagpapahalaga sa mga proseso ng kooperatiba at ang prinsipyo ng pagtutulungan patungo sa pagtugis ng mga karaniwang layunin. Halimbawa nito ay ang kumpanya na napahintulutang kailangan ng isang lupon para maisagawa ang isang layunin. The ninth one is openness or tolerance. Halimbawa nito sa pagiging bukas ay ang isa sa mga paraan upang mapabuti ang pagkomunikasyon dahil ang taong may bukas na kaisipan ay may mahaba ring pag-uunawa sa kanyang kapwa dahil ang pagiging bukas ay magandang ugaling dapat isinasagawa na sa ating pamilya at pagpapaubaya. Ang pagiging bukas o pagpapaubaya, it means is open-mindedness and tolerance, being respectful and accepting of others' approaches in business even if they go against what you think or feel. The 10th one is justice o katarungan, ang kahalagahan ng isang tao sa buhay. Halimbawa nito ay ang pagmamahal sa kaaway, sa pamilya, sa kaibigan at sa kapwa. The 11th one is social responsibility o responsibilidad sa lipunan. Social justice, one of the biggest social justice issues of 2020 by Ishna Online on March 16, 2020. Voting rights, expressing the right to vote is one of the social justice issues prioritized by the National Association of Social Workers. Ito ang responsibilidad ng isang tao na to contribute to the shaping of society by justice. The last one is A Positive Vision by John Gordon on November 18, 2019 at 6 a.m. How great leaders create and share a positive vision. A positive leader sees what's possible and then takes the next steps to rally and unite people to create it. Every invention, project, creation, and transformation starts with an idea, an imagination, and a vision of what's possible. Because a positive leaders tap into the power of a vision and find a way forwarded. Our vision that capturing and inspiring of the future in our dreams and a long-term goals, our desired future state, it tells of what you could like to achieve and kung ano ang gusto mo sa iyong buhay. That's all this day. Thank you and God bless.
Hey, good day everyone. I am Najifa Saribadabatu, B.Ed first year college student. So, in this video, I am going to discuss the skills. So, there are some of the skills that need to be developed. Okay, but before that, I am going to discuss what is skills. Okay, a skill is a noun word. The ability to do something well. So, it is the ability to do something well. Difficult work, taking great skills, something like that. Okay, number 1. Reflection. Okay, reflection is the use of reflective thinking or reasoning through which they deepen their understanding of themselves and their connectedness to others and to living earth. Okay, so reflection is that means analyzing your own experiences to improve the way you learn or work. It is valuable skills that can help learners and professionals gain experience, confidence, and self-awareness. Okay, what is an example of reflecting? Okay, for example, they might have hunched their shoulders as they said, I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. We might reflect that back by hunching our own shoulders, mirroring their body language, while also saying, I felt so scared. I didn't know what to do. Something like that. Okay, next one, critical thinking and analysis. Ability to approach issues with an open but critical mind. Knowing how to research, questions, evaluate,
and interpret evidence, ability to recognize and challenge prejudices and unwarranted claims, as well as a change opinions in the face of evidence and rational arguments. So, what is an example of critical thinking? Okay. Analytical thinking is the mental process of breaking down complex information or comprehensive data into fundamental parts of basic principles, while critical thinking is the mental process of carefully evaluating information and determining how to interpret it in order to make a sound judgment. Okay. Example of critical thinking. A triage nurse analyzes the cases at hand and decides that the order by which the patient should be treated. A plumber evaluates the materials that would best suit a particular job. An attorney reviews evidence and devises a strategy to win a case or to decide whether a settle out of court. Okay. Third one is decision making. Ability to analyze problems, develop solutions, analyze alternative solutions considering advantages and disadvantages, and having arrived at the preferred decision, ability to prepare a plan for implementation of the decision. Okay, and decision making, the ability to select between two or more. So you have to select whether this one or this one. So that is decision making. Alternative to reach the best outcome in the shortest time. Okay, an example of decision making is problem solving, right? Problem solving, leadership, reasoning, intuition, teamwork, emotional intelligence, and creativity also. Okay, next one is imagination. So, how can we develop our imagination skills? Okay, creating and imagining new paradigms and new preferred ways of living or relating. Okay, so imagination is the ability to produce and stimulate novel objects, sensation, and ideas in the mind without any immediate inputs of the senses. So you have to think, imagine. You have to imagine. Imagination versus reality. Something like that. Okay, imagination helps make knowledge applicable in solving problems and is fundamental to integrating experience and the learning process. Okay, fifth is communication skills. Okay, listening attentively and with empathy, as well as the ability to express ideas and needs clearly and in a non-aggressive way. Okay, communication skills are the abilities you use when giving and receiving different kinds of information. Some example includes communicating new ideas, feeling or even an update on your project. Communication skills involve listening, speaking, observing, and empathizing. Okay. Example of communication skills is something like this. I am reporting within my group mates and then we are giving an information about the topic. So it is an example also of communication skills that we need to improve or develop. Okay, another one is conflict resolution. Okay, it is the ability to analyze conflicts in an objective and systematic way and to suggest a range of nonviolent solutions. Conflict resolution skills include appropriate assertiveness, dialogue, active listening, and collaborative problem solving. Communication skills are important foundational skills in conflict resolution. So communication skills and conflict resolution are connected. Okay, so what are the conflict resolution skills? Okay, the ability to successfully resolve conflict depends on your ability to manage stress quickly while remaining alert and calm. By staying calm, you can accurately read and interpret verbal and nonverbal communication. You have to control your emotion and behavior. So that is the example of that will be the conflict resolution. Okay, seventh is empathy skills. Okay, it is ability to see the perspective of another person or group and to feel what the person or group feels. It isn't skills that helps broadening the learner's own perspective, and especially in the search of fair and constructive alternatives. So how do you explain empathy? Okay, empathy is the ability to emotionally understand what other people feel, see things from their point of view, and imagine yourself in their place. Essentially, it is putting yourself in someone else's position and feeling what they must be feeling. So you have to compare yourself with the other person. Okay, so what is empathy and examples? Okay, emotional empathy. When you feel something because someone else does, that this is emotional empathy. Okay, so you may have noticed this when you cried watching a very sad scene in a movie. So it is called emotional empathy, which is the reflection of the other or what you watch. It is called emotional empathy. Okay, cognitive empathy, involving thinking more than feeling. Cognitive empathy means putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Okay, last one is group building or team building. Okay, working cooperatively with one another in order to achieve common goals. Okay, so what are team building skills or group building skills? Okay, team building is knowing how to help individuals work as a cohesive group where all members feel invested in the direction and accomplishments of the team. All members have inputs towards developing goals and defining the steps to take to reach those goals. So that is team building. Okay, so there are main types of team building activities, which includes communication activities, problem solving, decision making activities, adaptability and planning activities, activities that focus on building trust. So that will be all. Thank you. Again, I am Najifa Saripada Batu, B.Ed first year college student.
Good day everyone, I am Heaven. So today I will be discussing about spiritual and faith traditions as resources for peace. The world's major spiritual and faith traditions encourage or inspire and motivate people to embrace peace as a mission. So, kani kuno si spiritual and faith traditions. When we say faith traditions, kanami siya consisting of your beliefs. So, kani kuno silang duha is and motivate and inspire people to embrace a peace as a mission. Although religious believers have gone to war and committed act of violence in the name of their faith. So naay some of the person have gone to war and committed an act of violence kay tungod sa ilahang mga pagtuo sa ilang mga faith. Some of the common peace techniques that are various spiritual traditions subscribes to are: Number 1 is the rejection of violence. This means that you as a person must refuse or reject doing or making violence. So, pasabot ani is dili ta magbuhat og dili maayo sa atong isig katawo. So the second one is love and compassion for other humans. So when we say compassion, it embodies the tangible expression of love for those who are suffering. So when we say suffering, mga tao nga nagkalisod, no? So, for example, is you have a friend nga nagkalisod financially, so kung naa kay mahatag, you try to help. Another is kanang mga kabantay mo ng mga bata sa maranding, di ba? Na sila mangayo sila og kwarta, di ba? So, we don't even, wala ganita kaila ato nga mga bata, but we try to help. Bisan gamay lang siya nga financial help, di ba? Mohatag og tag 5, tag 10, at least makatabang sa ilahang pamalit og pagkaon. So, mao na siya, that was meant by love and compassion for other humans. The third one is love and compassion for other creatures and life forms in natures. So, kini siya, ang example is, kana bitong mga person nga mahilig magbuhi og pets, magtanom og plants, no? Ang kanang mahilig og magbuhi og pets like dog, cats, mahilig magtanom og plants. They call it plantitos and plantitas. Napoy uban mahilig sila mag tree planting, which has a big impact in our mother nature. So kanang mga ingon ana, wala gasugo nila, or no one's commanding them, no? Pero mo na siya gitawag nato og love and passion for other creatures and life forms in natures. Kay bisag walay gakuman nila, they try to give love and especially show their passion on that certain thing. Next is, or the fourth one is respect for human being. Like for example is kanang, di ba, magtabi ka to a person nga wala ka kaila. Di ba, you say auntie, uncle, ate, kuya, di ba? You have respect to a person even wala kay kaila. Why? Because, or simply because they are human beings. And as a person, you need to respect your co-humans. Number 5, or the last one, is justice fairness. When we say justice fairness, like for example, a judge, 'di ba? Kung naa siya case nga gihandle, 'di ba? The judge would listen to the both side to know the reasons nganong naingon ana siya. So that what we called justice fairness. So the golden rule is do to others what you would want them do unto you. Is a maxim that is found in all major world spiritual tradition, especially includes Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and the indigenous tradition.